Hey guys, welcome back to another video that I'm making because that's what I do. Today we have 10 things that I wish I knew when I started film. 10 things I wish I knew when I started film photography. Let's jump right into it. Number one, film is expensive, but not as expensive as you think. Coming off of digital, it's gonna be weird because you can take as many shots as you want for free and there's no penalty for taking 30 pictures by accident. But with film, you have to be really careful and conservative with what you take pictures of. The thing is, the way that it slows you down, you get 36 shots on a 35mm roll, and that's actually a lot of pictures for $3 or $4. When it comes to medium format, then it does get a lot more expensive, but the quality and colors you get out of that, I think, are worth it. Number two, developing at home is super easy. Now, I started just developing right out the gate by myself, but I know a lot of people getting into film photography are gonna send their films to labs. Now, this is great because you're guaranteed good results, it's not gonna get messed up, but the downside of it is it's so expensive. I'm talking like $20 a roll for good scans and good developing. What I did was I just went and bought a C41 kit, and there's lots of videos online, and I'll probably make a video myself about developing color negative film. And I had heard a lot from other people in school and everything that, oh, you can't develop color, it's really hard, you might as well just send it to someone. Guys, it's not. I even want to say easier than black and white. Only thing is you have to heat the chemicals, but other than that, it's just a simple 2-bath process. It is so easy. You can get an Epson V550 for like $170. It's a steal. The initial investment to develop film and scan it at home is slightly more, but it's gonna pay for itself so fast when each of your rolls doesn't cost $15 at the least dollars to get scanned and developed. I can get plenty good detail out of this scanner. It scans all the way up to 6400 DPI. And honestly, unless you're gonna make a huge print, you don't even need to go over about 3200. 3. This is gonna be controversial because it's kind of subjective and artistic. But when I first started shooting on film, I found myself taking a lot of photos that I knew were like, this probably isn't that good, but I was like, oh, it's on film, it'll be cool anyway. It doesn't work like this. It might have a certain look to it, but if it's just not lit well from the start, no amount of film look is going to save this. Now, can different films, can shooting on medium format give you looks that you couldn't otherwise achieve on digital? Absolutely. Can they add to an image? Absolutely. The way you can get compression out of a medium format image, shooting with a larger field of view on a high focal length lens, you can't replicate. Okay, number four. When I started shooting film, especially because I moved to a 6x7 twin lens reflex off of always shooting with a DSLR, I had to readjust my eye, my thoughts for composition, and what I was shooting, going to a square format. Now, when I first started, I'd say for the first few weeks, the images I took on my film SLR, the Canon A1, I really liked the composition of, but I was like, oh man, I wish I shot that on medium format. It took me a long time to come into stride with the 6x6, the square format, and be able to compose effectively for that frame. But the other side of it is you're probably not going to get those like happenstance, like quick images you get on digital a lot because you can rip off 5 or 6 frames a second. It's more of a still static type image, especially with some of these cameras that take a minute to just set up, set the exposure meter for. You're not really going to be able to capture quick fleeting moments. On 35mm, yeah, a lot of these cameras are way faster, but especially on medium format, you're going to slow way down and you're going to take pictures that are different than what you'd normally take. 5. Now this is kind of funny, but when people find out that you know how to develop film and you have a scanner, they're gonna start being like, hey, can I send my film to you? Hey, can you develop my film? And you have to make the decision whether you want to take that risk, but there will definitely be your friends who are like, hey, I shot this roll of film and I don't know what to do with it. Can you scan it? Yeah. So my biggest thing is you're not technically trained to do this, you're just doing it for fun, and it's on you if you mess it up. If you expose somebody's film to light and their photos are all gone, how's that gonna make you feel? Now you can lend your developing equipment and scanner to people if you're comfortable with that, and then it's on them if they mess it up. So But the cool thing is you do get to teach people this kind of forgotten art of developing. Number six, and this is just recent, but oh my gosh, I wish I had shot slide film earlier and developed it. Now, the developing process for slide film is more complicated, but it's not that much more complicated. And seeing your negatives right there is stunning. Another thing is, a lot of people get into film photography for the look. And certainly a lot of color negative films give you the film look, but if you really want that kind of like old school punchy vibrant color, slide film is just, when I think of the film look, it's slide film. It's like Ektachrome. Number 7. So 35mm and even medium format sometimes is never going to be as sterile and clean as a digital file. There's always going to be some faults and some imperfections. Now, personally, I love this. I think this is really cool and one of the many reasons that I enjoy film photography. But if you're used to going into Lightroom and zooming in to 200% and being like, ooh, that's not sharp, well, yeah, you're gonna be extremely disappointed with film, but that's not the point. 35mm you can get good results out of, but it's never extremely sharp. I don't think most films can out-resolve the lens that's on the camera, especially on 35mm. Medium format, I have to say, like 6x6, 6x7, those do a lot of times rival the sharpness of digital right now. But what you do get, however, is a huge dynamic range from film that you don't get with digital. When you get into large format, 4x5, 8x10, okay, yeah, this is gonna be exceeding anything digital these days, but if you're just getting into it for 35mm, that there is no competition. It is just, no matter what anyone says, not as clean, but that's the point. Number 8. Now, this is kind of hard to explain, but there's lots of different films and they do lots of different things and they do lots of different things differently. And the basis of number 8 is pick a film based on what you're shooting. And this is hard to do because you have to learn what they do, but I wouldn't recommend just sticking to one film. A lot of people do have their one and they stay with that. A lot of people like Kodak Portra 400 because it's very versatile and very predictable, but I would venture to say that it's not perfect for all situations. One thing to look out for in a lot of films is the undertones. It's hard to explain, but the shadows of films usually get tinted a little bit. So on tungsten films per se, this is more of an extreme example, the shadows are going to be bluer and deeper, whereas on Portra, the shadows are going to be reds and browns and yellows, warm tones. Generally, I'd say Kodak films have warm shadows, warmer overall. They do really good with warm tones, where Fujifilm's stuff has a slightly cooler undertone, which goes really well with blues and greens. So if I was going somewhere with lots of blues and greens, I would probably pick a Fujifilm, maybe Pro 400H, where if I was going somewhere with lots of warm tones, I would probably pick something more like a Kodak film. But this is just up to you. Number 9, learn how to push and pull your film. This is big. The speed rated on the box of your film is generally recommended to give you the best results, but so many color negative films shine in different ways when you over or underexpose them a stop. Because films have such a wide exposure latitude, you can actually just decide to take all your pictures, say at ISO 400 on an 800 speed film, and this will give you different results, usually with more contrast and more saturated colors. Alternatively, if you have a too fast film, maybe you're in bright sunlight with a 400 speed film, you can just shoot all your images at 100 and it gives it this more airy, lighter tone, but you'll still keep a lot of detail. I just generally wouldn't recommend being afraid to shoot your films at different ISOs than what the box is rated, especially if it's color negative film, because they are really forgiving as long as you make note of this or tell your lab whoever's developing. Number 10 is always just have an extra roll on hand. I can't stress how frustrating and infuriating it is when you go to a shoot, you go to a location, the light just keeps getting better or something, and you just run out of film. Say you only brought one roll, and you're just sitting there with basically a paperweight that can't take any taking pictures because you ran out of film. So always just bring one more roll than you think you need, because you might be really thankful you had it. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this little quick video I made. It wasn't really a nice day today, so haven't been out to shoot. I'd like to go shoot more. I'm about halfway through my first roll of the medium format Ektachrome, but I haven't really filmed any photos I've taken on it. I'm probably going to go out and shoot the second roll and have Peter, or I'll just bring my camera and just film what's going on, and we'll do a breakdown of how that went. Until the next ones, I hope you are staying safe out there with the current pandemic that's going on. Really appreciate it if you like and subscribe, because that helps me, and it helps you, it helps me make more videos. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next one, guys.